Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon and this is Made by Boo. I am recording today from a little bit outside of Boise, Idaho. It is a Sunday morning-ish, and I'm not sure how the lighting's going to be. I have some lights set up, but we did have like a little bit of a thunderstorm last night out around here, and the skies have been kind of up and down. So if the lighting is a little off, I am very sorry. Hopefully you will still be able to see what I have been working on. I actually don't have a ton of things to show. I have 2 finished objects and 2 works in progress, but I really was kind of like focusing in on a couple of projects there and trying to get them done before other things happen. So let me just dive right on in and show you my first finished object. This is really exciting to me because I have not shown this before. I started and finished this project in less than 2 weeks. So this is a blanket. I had this yarn set aside to make a blanket for my in-laws, and my husband is actually traveling to go see his parents in the next week, so I was trying to hurry up and finish it before it was time for him to go. By the time this posts, they should have already seen it, but I don't think they're watching today. Anyways, if they are, hello. The yarn that I used is Wander acrylic yarn, and this is just it's not a specific pattern. I looked up a couple of videos to kind of remind myself like how to get one started. I always struggle with the calculations for a chevron blanket, but it is just a basic crochet chevron blanket using double crochet, and it's going to be really hard for me to show the whole thing, so let me see what the best I can do is. So I had the white, or the cream I guess, and the grays were part of a kit, and then the others, let me adjust, the other colors I just kind of had in stash and added them in to make a nice throw blanket. I thought I had 12 colors picked out, and then I realized I actually had 15 colors picked out. But while I was working on, I think it was color 10, I realized that this blanket was already like laying over my lap. Like it's hard to see right now, but it's coming all the way up to my chin and pooling on the floor by a little bit. So even though like my father-in-law is taller than me, if he wanted to sit under the couch and cover up in this, it should be long enough to be just like a really nice cozy throw. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fold this up properly. I need to take a picture of it today before my husband leaves, and I'm gonna pack it up and just send it as a gift. I'm not traveling with him. I'm gonna be at work, but I'm still sending something. I had it sitting over there going, I'm going to make them a blanket for at least 4 or 5 months, the whole bag. All I had to do was grab a crochet hook and start working on it, and I decided, I was like, they're leaving in 3 weeks. I totally have time to start and finish a blanket in 3 weeks. And then I realized it was 2 weeks, but it was like, I can still do that. And then at that point, I was working along on it and was like, ooh, it's 15 balls of yarn, not 12. Ooh, and then right after that, I realized it was the right length. So it was kind of a project of ups and downs, but I got it done. It will be wrapped up and sent with my husband when he leaves. And I might even send some homemade jam along with it as well. So even if I'm not there, I can still send my love and handmade gifts. So that is the first finished object, which is extra fun because, again, I hadn't shown it on here before. My next finished object is a pair of socks, almost always a pair of socks. I believe I was about halfway through pair number 1, sock number 1 2 weeks ago. I took all the markers out. I'm really bad about that. I need to either keep better notes as to how far I was on things or leave my markers in, because I feel like the last few times I've been leaving them out. But I do now have 2 socks. So the yarn is from Yarnable, and it is August of 2024. The color was Neon Graffiti. Yarnable does not usually come with contrast colors. If they have an option for that, I'm not aware of it. I always just get the single skein of plush sock yarn, and then I'd say it's almost always socks, but let's be realistic. Most of the time it's in a pile waiting for me to turn it into socks. But the contrast color I had was just a leftover from one of my 2024 advent calendars. It was galaxy themed. Oh my goodness, I had to look it up last time too. Why can I not remember who it was from today? Wonderful Wool. I always remember wool, and then I cannot remember how it starts every time. But it was from Wonderful Wool. It was galaxy themed, and there was just a couple colors that didn't fit in the project I was making. But I thought it made a nice contrast for these socks. And then these socks lead very well into my first work in progress, because it is another pair of socks, but it is using the same yarn. So I finished these socks, and I was on the go, and I had some more time to kill, and so I was like, well, let me just go ahead and cast on the small pair, and I will start a small pair for my child. But then I cast it on. This is as far as I've gotten, and I realized I might not have cast on the right number of stitches. So I'm not very far into it yet, which will make me feel a little bit better if I have to pull it out. But I need to double check how many stitches I need to do for my child's foot, because I thought I remembered 48, and then later I was like, wait, I think it's 56. And I mean, if it's 56, that is a significant difference from 48 when you're looking at socks. And I want to make sure that they're actually big enough. So I do need to double check that these are going to be big enough, but I mean, I had plenty of leftover yarn. I haven't weighed it or anything. I was on the go. And if I have to pull it out and restart, that's really not that much to restart. Even if I pull it out and decide, you know what, I'm not going to do another pair of these socks, either right now or ever, it still filled the time that I needed the other day. But I haven't made a lot of socks for my 7-year-old, and the 2 pair that I have, she does love wearing. These ones would not be an identical match to mine, but it'd be close enough, and I know she'd still be happy with it. All right, I have one more work in progress. This one may be a really short one, because most of my project energy over the last 2 weeks did go to making that blanket, which I do think was a good decision because it is done. So I only have one more project, and it looks like a lot, but it is just in 2 different bags. This is my Radvent Cardigan. I'm blanking on who the pattern is by, but I will link it below, and the yarn is from A Chick That Knits. This is their advent calendar from 2024. The theme was dark and dreamy. I did not order this particular dyer again this year. I was trying to change it up and get some different dyers this year, so most of my advent calendars that I have pre-ordered for this year are from different yarn dyers than from last year. I think there's only one that I'm getting that's exactly the same, but there is also that part of me that's like, yeah, but what if something happens and you can squeeze one more in? I'm not going to squeeze another one in, but I'm still, my brain is like, yeah, but you got less than last year. Anyway, so I'm trying really hard to work through the rest of my advent calendars from last year. This was the last one that wasn't started, and I'm actually making some pretty good progress on this Radvent calendar, or cardigan. So again, did not leave marker in. Oh no, I did leave a marker in. So the last time I showed this, I was on the right side of this cardigan, and my marker is right here. So I was on this color getting ready, it looks like, to separate for the back. And then I finished another color, and it's kind of a color and a half because the back ends, the 2 halves of the back end on the same color. So I have the right half done, and then since last time I started working on the left half. Now, one issue that I did have over the last 2 weeks is I realized this pattern was actually written for 25 mini skeins, and my advent calendar had 24. I don't know if there's another part of the pattern that does calculate everything out for 24 mini skeins, but it's got this little like cheat sheet that you can use for your increases and color changes, and that's mostly what I was working from. And as I was working on the second half, I realized it was counting down from color 25. My color 25 is the main skein for this one, and it's being used for this. So I was going to be one color short, and everything was not going to be right. So when I started, I actually threw in, this is color number 1. So it's 24, 1, 23, 22, and I feel like it kind of blends in well. And yes, I mean, obviously this is not how the cardigan actually fits entirely, but it's, you know, getting close there. Like if I hold my hands together and line it up just right, yes, somebody is going to notice, but I think it's going to be fine. I'm not upset. I think that color blends in really well there, and I figured using color number 1 was a good choice too, because it is one of the colors that I would have used the least amount of, because it's right here. Everything else increases, goes up, and you end up using a little bit more of it. So I am currently on color 18, 19. Got my little marker here. Color 17. So I've got color 17. And then these are the rest of the colors that are going into this half of the cardigan. And these, I've got all my leftovers here, just in case I need any of them again. This is why I don't use up my leftovers right away, because sometimes you need it again, because I do have lots and lots of scraps, but I do not have any scraps of the exact same kind with a sparkle, which I don't know if the sparkle is showing up, but this is a sparkle sock yarn. I am so happy. I definitely feel like I like this half a little bit better than the other half, but I'm not as big on reds. So like that does make this section a little bit, like this one red in particular, it's gorgeous, but for someone who's not big on red, it kind of stands out a lot. So I am getting close to being able to have it all in one piece. And it is a paid for pattern, so of course I don't want to give all of the details away. But once I join the two halves, then I will do the ribbing. I do need to look through my collection for some buttons and see what size buttons it says I need. And what I'm really worried about, I mean, like looking at this, I was halfway through this color. So I got this color, and this color all done in one day, now that I'm down to only 2 projects going. And my husband will be traveling with 2 of the kids. It'll just be me and my adult child staying at home. So my knitting time is going to be different, and I'm planning on just focusing on this project instead of starting another one right away. And I'm hoping to get it all done, but what I'm worried about too is that I will, well, not all of it done, but get a lot done on it. What I'm really worried about is that it will come to the part to join the 2 halves partway through the week when I'm at work and have less time to focus on it. And if that happens, I do have some backup projects ready to go to just grab and go. I could technically work on the one little pair of socks I have, but I do have 2 other projects already wound up, and a couple of other projects that are, I mean, I've been trying to have a few of the projects from my bingo card in bags ready to mostly just grab and go. That's not the case for everything, but I do have some things that I could just start working on. So if that's the case and I need to just kind of make it work, I have some things I can work on for a few days, but I'm really hoping that even if that happens, I am able to join it in the middle of the week and just keep going, because I'm very excited to get this one finished. I think it's going to be definitely a little bit loud, kind of a little bit more of a statement piece, but I'm also just so in love with how it's turning out. And I'm looking forward to being able to wear it and to feel accomplished getting another sweater done, because I was looking and there's 3 sweaters right now that I'm looking at doing for myself. 2 that I already have the materials to do, and 1 that I am waiting for the yarn to come in. And I would really like to get, and that's not even, of course, counting this cardigan. Those are additional ones. And I would really like to get some of those done to wear this winter when it's cold. So I'm very proud of myself for getting this cardigan started earlier. I think it's a good idea as one of the first ones too, because not only does it use up the advent calendar, but also it's a fingering weight cardigan, so it'll be nice when it first starts to get cold. And a nice transitional piece there. Plus I do work in a building where the air conditioning sometimes works overtime. So this will be a great one to just kind of wear at work when it's really hot outside, but it's colder inside the building. So that is actually all of the making content that I have right now. I have a few of those little background projects, like I've made a few additional squares for my Yorkshire crochet along blanket, but that one is one that I feel like it's kind of hard to show the squares day to day, because it's just like, I don't know, it's a little bit awkward, so I will probably show some more of those soon. I believe I calculated I am down to 5 squares left, and I'm hoping to get myself really going on that. I've got my anthology blanket that I have not made a ton of progress on or anything like that. Like, I've got some of those background projects that are not really getting a lot done on. I haven't really been able to share a lot of spinning in a little while. I did not do Tour de Fleece, partially because I just kind of always forget about it. Like, I know it's a thing, but I always just kind of forget it's a thing until everybody is already doing it. And then it's like, oh, well, I mean, I didn't really prepare for this, so I don't join. But also, I am so frustrated. My new eel wheel that I got this year has not been working right, and I thought it needed to be cleaned, and I just hadn't had time to clean it, because it was like, looking it up, if you do this and this, it should be fine. And so I followed the little tutorial video to do all the troubleshooting, made sure there was no fiber stuck in any of those places, made sure everything was good, and then turned it on, and it worked for about 10 seconds and stopped again. So I did a little more research, and it said it's possible that my motor burnt out already, which was very disappointing, but it does say that there's a 1-year warranty. So I reached out to the company, told them, like, hey, I bought it through a third party. How do I go through this process, because it's not working? And that was yesterday, so I haven't heard anything, of course. I'm hoping I will, but it's a new wheel. I have not experienced their customer service or anything, so hopefully their customer service is good. I don't know how big of a company or anything it is. It's mostly disappointing to me because I heard nothing but good things about this company, these wheels, all of that. Like, they were really hyped up as one of the most amazing wheels ever, and they're so light, and it's so wonderful, and it makes electric wheels affordable. And I mean, it's definitely true that it makes electric wheels a little bit more affordable, but if my motor burnt out, like, hopefully this is kind of an unusual thing. It's not like I looked it up and I saw nonstop, yes, all the motors burn out. So I'm hoping it's just kind of a me thing and I can get it fixed soon, because I do really want to get more spinning done. Yeah, I don't really have a lot more project stuff going on. And I mean, around here, it has actually been a little bit quiet the last couple of weeks. My husband and my youngest and I went to another Boise Hawks game last weekend. Work has been a little bit crazy off and on. We are still kind of in the nicest way to phrase it is a transitional period, because we have had a couple of, I mean, if you're not really familiar with kind of how ABA works, we have like our clinical director, the BCBAs, and then RBTs. I'm a BCBA, and our clinic had 2 left, and then recently our clinical director has also decided to move on, and I know that's one of those things where if you hear that, it sounds like a massive red flag for a company. I'm still very happy there, but everybody had their own reasons for leaving. And I personally don't feel it's my job to argue with whether or not their reasons are valid, but it does affect my day-to-day job. Like, if there's less people there, my workload gets heavier. The company's in the process of hiring a new clinical director, so that leaves a lot of uncertainty and nervousness. So it's been kind of nice to just come home and work on my projects. I may try to set up my spinning wheel somewhere that I can just come home and spin while my husband is gone, because waiting to figure out who is going to be hired and if they're going to make the job uncomfortable. I've had some really bad bosses in the past, so I'm definitely a little nervous over who the new boss will be. I always find spinning very soothing, so maybe just setting up my non-electric wheel would be a good idea for a little bit. But I also do really want to get some work done on this cardigan, so I'm trying to put a lot of my nerves into just finishing these projects and reminding myself it's going to be what it's going to be. If things don't work out well where I am allowed to move on and everything is fine. I don't want to end everything on a down note, so I am looking forward to finishing this project. I am definitely feeling very, very accomplished lately on my bingo card, which if you watched my bingo card breakdown from, I think it's probably about a month ago now, I've already knocked off quite a few more things. This cardigan will be another one. I've got things set up. I need to do a little bit more planning for some of those other things, but I'm trying to set things up where I think I might be able to make my bingo card by the end of the year. And I'm excited about my projects again, which I feel like that was trying to wane for a little while. So if you would like to continue to see how all of this turns out, please remember to like and subscribe. It always feels weird saying that, but I am getting pretty close to 500 followers. I know for some people that's not a big number, but I mean, I kind of like the idea of the round number, so if you want to help me out with that, that would be amazing. And until next time, have a very happy making.